Well, this is Prepper Jim from the winterant.com blog, and today I'm going to work through, in addition to my Remington 870 shotgun, I have a basic shotgun, and of course the very first thing that you're going to do when you work on any firearm is you're going to do a safety check. I did that before I turned the camera on, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do it again. Basically, you work through, and then I'm going to look down in the action for the orange follower that I can clearly see. I'm not going to take a picture of that because I'm sitting here on a tripod, but the weapon is clear. I've got all the shells that I have ejected off here to the side. Another thing that you can see, I made two modifications already to it that I'm not going to show today. I have got a flashlight down here on the end, tactical flashlight. That's an easy mount to the end of it. The only thing I don't like is every time I want to take the shotgun apart, I got to take the mount off. So that's a downside. The other thing is I put a sling on here, and you know what? I'm really embarrassed by this sling. It's something that I pieced together by two slings. It's a 2-point. I'm always going to go with the 2-point, or at least I think I am. But I don't like this 2-point sling because I pieced it together from two pieces. So in the future, I'm going to have a different sling on this shotgun. But I think this modification is going to be fairly easy. Basically, I have the Remington scope mount made directly for the 870. So that is going to be fairly easy to put on. And then I have a UAG tactical CQB, which stands for close quarter battle. I'm not planning to be in a close quarter battle, but it's a reflex sight. The scope mount, I've got these both off of Amazon. I'm not sure if that was the best place, especially for the scope mount, for $42. And I got the UAG tactical CQB reflex sight for $35. So here I've got about $77 into it, and since I have Amazon Prime, I got that free shipping. But you can also see another modification that I made is that I just have basically a butt mounted receptacle for shotgun shells. So I got 5 shells on the butt. I'm not sure that this is my favorite thing either, but it works for me. I can get them fairly easy off of here and reload the gun. So we've done our safety check. I've walked you through the modifications I've already made that I'm not going to take off and describe. Both of them really easy. Putting a sling on this, it already had sling mounts. Putting the flashlight mount on there. I'll post a link to which flashlight mount that I have. It's not the best in the world, but it serves me. I'm not going to talk about the flashlight I have on there because it's just basically a basic tactical light and nothing really to be proud of. So I'm going to pause the tape here for a second and reorient the camera so you can get a better view on what I'm doing. Okay, so here's the shotgun. Once again, I've already done a safety check on it. I do it every time I touch the weapon. I don't know if someone else has touched it while I've been out of the room, even though I'm the only person in the house. Heck, maybe the cat did something to it. So check it again. Look inside. Pump it a few times. The safety is also on. So the first thing on this direction it says is you open the chamber here, and then you're going to knock the pins out. I don't have any fancy gear. All I have is some hex wrenches that I can knock these pins out. Thankfully, they're they're loose enough for me to knock out like that. So I have a basic hammer. They say to use a plastic hammer. You see that on the shows, but I'm just going to use a basic hammer to knock these pins out. There's 2 pins that you have to knock out. I'm going to be very careful as I do this. So if I'm a little bit slow, you'll forgive me. Okay, this one's a little bit more stubborn than what I wanted, but that's okay. So I'm going to keep that pin. After this is all over with, you're going to have the pins left over because the scope mount has its own pins that you're going to screw in there. But I'm going to keep these 2 pins just as a safety precaution. If I decide that I don't that I don't like the mount, then I can take it off and put the pins back in. So keep all of your stuff just in case. This one's going to be a little more stubborn on me because I don't have the right tool for the job, and I regret that. Every time I have to clean it or take this apart, I regret that I don't have the right tool to take this pin out. Okay, having gotten both pins out, I want to make sure, well, it's already slipped out. It's already come unaligned, but you're going to want to align the trigger mechanism here when you start to do the rifle mount. So one thing about this is, if you can see the mount, it's got the pins that screw in onto both sides. So it looks like I have a little bit of work to do to unscrew it from its base. It did come with the appropriate hex wrench, so that's always handy. I've got my own hex wrenches. That's one thing that I have plenty of. So you just basically unscrew it. Got the first one. And the second one unscrewed. Okay, it's intuitively obvious which way it goes. You're not going to mount the scope mount in this direction. You're going to go ahead and mount it facing forward. So you basically just slip it over and align it with the holes. And like I said, the only tricky part that I can see is making sure that everything lines up as it should as you start to put the pins through. The big one goes through the big hole, the little one goes through the little hole. I know some people, when they did an Amazon, that they noticed that things didn't line up, but I really don't see how you can mess this part up, because it's got to line up or things won't go through. So it looks like I got the first one. Let me put the second one through. And I really don't think that it matters which direction, the right side of the gun or the left side of the gun. It all depends on what your preference is. And so as I look through the hole, and you may need a little flashlight to get things lined up, but that's basically how it's done. So there's a good shot of it's lined up, it's ready to screw in. And so what I generally do is, I've got it lined up on both sides. I can see that it's lined up and I'm ready to start screwing. I'm going to tighten from both sides. So, I'll give this a couple of turns until it's, finger tight. And then I'll give the front one a couple of turns until it is finger tight as well. And that way, one side is not more tight than the other. It's probably not a critical operation to tighten one over the other, but to me, I like to make it tight but not too tight. So it is on there. It's on there really well. One of the things the directions say is now you need to work the action just to make sure that it's not too tight. So I'm going to work the action on it to make sure it's not too tight, that things are there. And maybe, just maybe, you don't want to over tighten anything in this regard, but if you want it to hold, let me tighten down on both of them just a tad more, because, oh yeah, the front one wasn't even tight. So yeah, I definitely have problems at the range with that one if I didn't tighten it down enough. And as I tighten one, then the other one becomes loose as well, and so wanting to tighten them both at the same time. And I think I'm almost there on getting them both tight. Okay, I'm good on the back. And also, I'm not putting Loctite or anything on these. It doesn't say to do that in the directions, and I hope that I'm going to be okay. Okay, I am back and ready to mount the reflex sight on the gun. So what I've done is I've taken the provided hex wrench. In fact, there's two hex wrenches that have been provided, one large and one small, and I have loosened the screws enough such that I can slide the mount, the reflex sight over the scope mount. Now it's a whole lot easier if you do that rather than trying to just loosen a little bit. Just loosen them a lot and then slide it over. You know, I'm not going to have a recommendation for where on the scope mount. There's a lot of real estate. So I'm going to kind of mount it on the back 1/3. And you're going to have to put the window towards the front of the gun. It will not work in the opposite direction. So the window that's right here, it's got a cover on it right now while I mess with the screws. But window towards the front, and then basically just tighten on the screws. It has a lot of, this particular sight, and I'll put a link in the notes, has a lot of versatility as far as what sort of sight picture you want to see, how bright it is, and that is all done by this knob. But like I said, I think it's really easy to mount it up. I mean, that's it. I loosened the screws. I did some stuff off camera, but I took it out of the box. I loosened some screws, and then I slipped it over the mount, and it is on. It is tight. I'm not going to do Loctite on this until I have a chance to go to the range and see if it holds. If it does not hold, I can tell you I will Loctite it up with the Loctite Blue so I can take it off at some point in the future. One thing I thought of while I was messing with this a little bit was every time you're going to clean the shotgun, you're going to take this mount off. So be careful not to ding up the scope mount because you're going to need to pull the trigger mount and everything out to totally clean it. You don't have to do that a lot. I don't think it's going to lose much accuracy. I guess I can report on it sometime in the future, putting it on and taking it off. But I think you're good to go with this. Here is the window cover that I suggest you keep. It just slips off like that, so no big deal. It came with a cleaner, and so you can clean the window. This knob on top, you can do red, you can do green, and it has 3 different brightnesses for red or green, and then of course you want to be able to turn it off as well. It does not have any time setting where it'll turn off. You just have to be on off. Along the back here, you can change it from a cross to a circle, and then it has a dot, and then a cross with a dot in the middle. So a lot of versatility, a lot of different settings. I'm going to have to see what I like. But one thing I didn't point out on this is you can still see the bead sight through here. I have not tried that, but obviously, because I just put it on the gun, you can still see the bead sight, and then you've got your reflex sight right there. I think this is going to be a great addition to this 870 shotgun. You know what? I really can't see where I need to do anything more. I've got a flashlight on the front for home defense. I've got 5 extra shells, so the way that I keep this loaded is I have 6 in the tube, none in the chamber, an open chamber, and then in my security system I have a cable that runs through here with a lock. That keeps it safe from intruders. It's not going to keep a determined burglar from taking my shotgun, but it's also readily available. I can unlock it in about 10 seconds. I can chamber around. I got 6 rounds of a double-aught ready to go. I have 5 more on the butt stock here. If I can't defend my house with 11 rounds of double-aught Bach, then the police are going to have to come. Of course, I have more ammo in the house than just that. But the police are going to have to come and scrape up, 5 bad guys by the time they get to me with this. But like I say, I think this is all the mods that I'm going to do on this shotgun right now. Now that I've got the scope mount and everything, I think I'm probably good to go on this. I probably need a case because this is just a little bit hanging out there for the current case that I have. So looks like a trip to the sporting goods store is going to be in order to get a case for this, so I can carry it back and forth to the gun range and try it out. So this has been Prepper Jim at winterant.com. So come and see me at www.winterant.com. Thanks.